Good evening, members of Encrypted Encounters. How's everybody doing this evening? Here on YouTube, uh, doing something a little bit new. Uh, I hope everybody is doing good this evening. As for me, every time uh, this time of the year comes, which is February 27 nearing, as we're nearing February 27th, uh, it always brings the memories which happened 32 years ago when I was 19 years old. Um, I was involved in the Battle of Medina Ridge, an Operation Desert Storm, against the Medina Republican Guard, which was Saddam Hussein's best army, or they will call themselves the elite army, in which that means that they're better than anybody. Well, that's what faced was them. Our tanks, so frontline tanks, were at number 7-1 because I had more tanks set up in, how should I say it, in defense position. They were dug into the ground and stuff like that, where you can only see the top of their turrets, so their T-72s, so they could see us coming. When we went to the war, even though our tank was painted, I don't know if it was plain. I think it was still our tank was still green because I remember wearing the green. If you see the picture that I placed today, I placed myself. We still were wearing those green outfits, where, if you're in the sand, there's no trees, there's no cover. The enemy can see you coming a mile away. Whether it be the uniform because it's all green and it sticks out in a desert environment, or if the tank is green and they're seeing you coming because they can see the color of the tank. So basically, what I'm saying is they could see us a mile away because in the desert, there's nothing that's stopping from the view from seeing you coming from a distance. You know, I remember having my mob gear, which was NBC gear, on because they hit us with a blood agent intensity. This is before we rolled out into combat. They hit us with a scud intensity. When you hear, I'm gonna talk about this because it's a 32-year anniversary. And I want to talk about this. When this for anybody, if you hear metal to metal in a combat environment, or you hear honking of the horns, that means that there's a chemical attack. So that's letting you know to put on your mop gear because we're getting hit by something. I remember hearing that at nighttime before we rolled out, where we're hearing the honking of the horns and banging of metal. So I put on my mop gear and I went to where the tanks were, because if the enemy was coming or they were trying to attack us, I wanted to be ready to go. I was a driver, so I had to prepare the tank to be ready to go. Start it up, warm it up, so we have to roll out. To be ready to fight the enemy. I remember as I tried to get on the tank. In the desert, it's pitch dark. You kind of need night vision glasses, but in the tent city where we're set up, there was lights that were set up so we could see. And as I got on the tank, I remember I slid on it. I slipped on it. It was something very slimy, very gooey on the tank. So I'm looking at it. My NBC alarm, the M9 alarm is going off. So that's letting me know that there's a chemical attack. You know, I was 19 at the time, or should I? Yeah, 19. Uh, so I grabbed my M256 kit. It's a little kit that lets you know you. It's got a little dab thing. It's got a sulfur where you ignite the sulfur and it activates it. But what it does is it lets you know if it's a blood agent, a blister agent, or a chemical agent. Um, and I remember that I put it on the goo And I have my mob gear, my mask on, my NBC mask on, my protective mask on, and I did the M256 kit, and it came out hot. It would show you a color. There's like three different colors to let you know what kind of chemical it is, and it came out hot for blood agent. Uh, what a blood agent does, brothers and sisters, for whoever's reviewing and wants to know from a veteran, a combat veteran, what a blood agent does. The reason they use that kind of chemical of a blood agent is what happens is if you get exposed to the blood agent, it causes blood clots in your body, in which when the blood clot anticoagulates and gets hard, it causes those blood clots to travel to your main organs, in which it can possibly kill you. Uh, but besides that, they had us taking some certain kind of pills that would supposedly help us from chemical attacks. But I chose not to take those because I know there's side effects to that kind of stuff. It was a pill that we were supposed to take every day, every morning. The first time that I took it, my first sergeant had the flashlight to make sure I took it. I took it, and side effects I had from that pill was I had red dots all over my body and a high fever, had diarrhea, which I had bad side effects to it, which that's letting me know as a person that's not good for my body. So what I would do, I would pretend that I was taking the pills, but I wasn't. I was thrown on in the sand. So that day that we got hit by those chemicals in Tent City, uh, my first sergeant was there, my company commander. They see me with a mask, and I was telling them because I did not just one, I did uh, two, two kits on a different part of the tank to make sure that the M256 kit was not in error. So both of them came out hot for a blood agent. So my first sergeant comes, the company commander comes, and I'm telling them because the M9 alarms are going off, and I'm letting them know, look, I did two M56 kits. They're hot for a blood agent. We need a quarantine. The tanks, quarantine the soldiers because we're exposed to a blood agent. So they look at me and they tell me to take off a mask, and I was like, I'm not going to take off my mask. But like the pill, they're like the pills that you're taking protects you from that, and so I'm not taking off a mask. So they grabbed me and they forced me to take off a mask. So they took my mask out of my face and they confiscated my M256 kits. That's what I was going to use as evidence that we got exposed to chemical agents. This brother Hernandez was in Operation Desert Storm in Tent City before we rolled out uh, to set up to go to war against the Medinah Republican Guard. It was in Tent City where this happened. So I went back to my tent. I got an exposed for my face because my body had I was secure with all my mop gear, but he exposed me from the neck up. So what I did is I resealed my mask and tried to detox my face with the best that I could with alcohol pads that they give you to my ears and stuff. To this day, things still I have like a chemical reaction to certain areas that I didn't get to wipe good. So I was pissed off. I was pissed off because, you them hearing this things and them to say, "Oh, the pills are going to help us." It's like this BS. I didn't buy it that the pills were going to help us out for anything. So after that happened, you know, uh, I remember they took us to y'all seen those quarantine movies, right? Well, we did quarantine for about 12 hours in the hot sun, butt naked, and they was keeping an eye on us just to see what was going to happen if they wasn't giving us no, how should I say, no antidote or nothing like that. They just wanted to see if how much of an exposure we got. If the blood agent was going to take us out or something like that. Own government. So we're out there in the middle of the sun, hot as hell, drinking water, butt naked, and they're just keeping an eye on us for about 12 hours. After the 12-hour quarantine, they they made us quarantine with hot soap, water, and stuff like that. After we quarantined, then we had to take our tank to get quarantined, and all the equipment we had on the tank, our BDUs, our mop gear, we had to give everything to them, and they replaced all our equipment because all the equipment that was in the tank was exposed to the blood agent. Um, so those exposures, brothers and sisters, that I'm talking about, this is before even the war. I'm just talking because tomorrow, midnight tonight, early in the morning, that's when we went to battle. That I remember early in the morning, we caught them by surprise. But I'm making this video tonight. I want to, in honor of my brothers that went to me that were fighting with me in combat side by side. Some are not here, some are still alive. But in honor of them, I wanna talk about this to people. To people that don't think that a soldier, is nobody, that they don't do nothing. They just don't know the sacrifice that we have to make when we raise the right hand. And when you raise the right hand, you're supposed to take orders from those above you. But sometimes from those orders from those above you are not good orders. So then you have to take it upon yourself whether you're going to follow the order or not. But as y'all know, in a combat situation where there's a matter of life or death, if you don't follow orders, then through the Geneva Conventions, the people in charge of you can take you out. They can literally kill you for not following a direct order in combat. So it's kind of like you got to do what you have to do to survive. There's a lot of people don't respect the soldiers, but I'm just saying I'm respecting not just the American soldiers, but I'm respecting the fallen. Because when you're in combat, either or can go. That's part of the balance. It's either you're going to survive, or the other person, which is the enemy, is going to survive. So it's going to be either or. When you fight in combat, it's not one of those where you play games and you say, okay, your little light went off. No, it's if you get hit, that's it. If you get hit, the direct hit, and your main organ, your head, your body, that's it. Your life is over here on Earth. And for those that want to live, let me see what Brother Hernandez says. Oh yeah, that anybody that's been to a war, even the Vietnam vets, they screwed them over, and those before them, they've been through the same BS. I've seen combat. I had to kill people out there to survive in combat. And I was in the front lines. Armor, Iron Knights. That was our name. What they call us as soldiers, Iron Knights, from Germany, from 1 through 5 armor. And that's we're literally iron. We're literally knights. When you talk about Dungeons and Dragons and the knights, they're of the Round Table. Well, we're knights. You can call me Sorcias. Because they get called by their last name. I'm a Sorcias. I got knighted with a sword from Iron Knights, and those that served with me, we got they did the thing with the sword that we're knights. So I'm an Iron Knight from the time of when we fought the battle of Medina Ridge. When we got back, we got knighted after we went to combat and we came back to Germany. We all got knighted as knights. So technically, I got the paperwork that says I'm a knight. I have the paperwork. It's got my name. It's not no make believe medieval little gathering where people go and they get knighted, or it's the real deal. When the only way you can get knighted is if you were to go fight for your king or queen or whatever. That's the only way you could get knighted, through combat. Well, I went through combat and I got knighted when I came back from the war. When I came back to Erlangen in Germany. Um, but besides that, brothers and sisters, the reason I'm making this video, because it's always hard for me, when you go through something that severe, where you see people lose their lives, close range, because you're the front line and there's nothing between you. It's just you, the sand, and the enemy. Uh, the Battle of Medina Ridge, that's what I was involved in, was the biggest tank battle out there. And it was a ridge. They had the advantage over us. They were dug in, uh, they were dug into the sand that you could only see the top of their turrets. But what we did is we strayed away from their maximum range, which their maximum range was, I believe, 2,400 for a direct hit to take out our tank. So we stayed away. We gave a gap in between, and our tanks, the Abrams tank, was sure further than that. So we used the gap in between what we could shoot to their distance, and we used that gap to protect us. In which, when we were rolling to fight them, I remember that the rounds were coming. I could see it because I was a driver, and the rounds will lose velocity. The main gun rounds from the T-72s will lose the velocity, and it will land in the sand, like maybe I'd say 300, 400 meters. The rounds would just land in the sand in front of us, and I could see where it would make the impact, but in the sand. But then we shoot, and then next thing you know, from a distance, we're shooting at 3,000, ranges of 3,000 meters, 3,100, 3,200. I think, I don't know, one was like 3,300. We're shooting distance. Imagine 3,300. That's a lot of football fields, right? Distance-wise. Um, but I remember when our rounds would make contact, you could see it would be like this in a distance. That's how it would look. When it was a direct hit, it looked like a lighter. That's how far it was, the target, that you could only see the flame where the tank would explode. We would hit them with the saber round and the heat rounds. How you doing, brother Steven? Yes, brother Steven. I'll get to you on that real quick. The saber round could pierce into a tank, come out through a tank, and suck everything out of the tank. So imagine if you're the enemy and you get hit by a saber round and it sucks you out of a hole, that the round goes is moving with so much velocity that it sucks anything in out of the tank. The heat round would make contact, and it would disintegrate inside the tank and burn from the inside out. So imagine there were some people that died in that nature. Their tanks would get burned from the inside out. How you doing, brother Juno? I know, brother Stephen Skiba. Jesus Christ. I know one thing. When I served, when I raised my hand, I was trying to get out of an environment where I'm from in the Rio Grande Valley, where it was nothing but crooked police, a lot of drug dealers, and the only way out for me was to join the military. There was no, I had no support. I was my mother. I lost my mother when I was 16 through domestic violence, and I had no other choice but to join the military. That's why I joined the military. Is to get out the Rio Grande Valley. If y'all don't know, that's in South Texas, where all these things are happening with the illegal immigrants. It's always been crooked like that, man. Ever since I know, and people disappear over there. That's why I joined the military, to get out of that situation. Then I went up, you could say, in a worse situation. We could talk about when I was in basic. Where it's different nationalities, and everybody got a chip on the shoulder. Where some people were representing the KKK, skinheads. Some are representing the Black Panthers, Crips, Bloods. Some are representing gangs from Texas, like Texas Syndicate, because they're saying that they're mules for them or whatever. So you get a you run into a lot of people with a chip on the shoulder, in which what normally happens when you're in basic training, you have confrontations in which you have to fight. So when the people think that everything's fine and dandy in the military, when I joined, no, it wasn't. It's not just because you wear the same uniform doesn't mean you have the same beliefs. That's why I'm getting to you, brother. What's his name, brother Stephen. They have different beliefs. Uh, they have non-denominational priests, which they're not priests or they're not preachers. They're just non-denominational, which they pray for anybody. So I remember one evening before we rolled out to fight the enemy, where this preacher was saying something to somebody, and I was approaching him, and he left in a Humvee, and the guys there, they were like kind of freaked out, because we were going to go to combat, and there were some guys they were like freaking out, they were scared, and some of them were crying because they was afraid what was to come. So I asked, "Is this people?" I asked him, I say, "Hey, I know a way to overcome what we're going to face." He said, "But we got to do one thing." And they're like, "What is that?" He said, "We had to place Jesus Christ first, because in any spiritual war battle that has happened in the past, whoever places Jesus Christ first comes out victorious. We have to do this." And there were some people that are like, "Well, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in that." And there's some others that believe in other things. There were some Wiccans and that believe in other things. So right now, I see y'all and y'all talking about you. I don't want to die. You're talking about you're scared, but if we pray to Jesus Christ, we're going to have the advantage, because He's going to be on our side. So it's not going to hurt you to try. Whether you believe or not, if we can join together and pray, you know, I believe that we will come out victorious, and you don't have to worry about not making it back home to your parents, to your girlfriend, and vice versa, right? So we all gathered hands and we prayed. I led the prayer and call upon Jesus Christ to give us the strength to overcome the enemy, to get fear out of our minds, and for us to overwhelm us with His presence, His holy presence. As we were praying, some of the soldiers were feeling like they were feeling the Holy Spirit around us. So I went back to my tank. Next thing you know, I have a platoon sergeant. My platoon sergeant comes and says, "I heard you were praying for the soldiers," and then he looks at me, because they know they go to meetings, so they know what we're gonna face, but they're not telling the soldiers what we're gonna face. So he looks at me, "You're not afraid to die?" I said, "No." I said, "Why?" And he said, "Why are you not afraid to die?" It's my time to go. It's my time to go. But I'm not afraid, because Jesus Christ is with us, and I know that we're gonna come out victorious. And when he was telling me that, he started crying, and he was telling me that he wanted to live because of his family, because he loved his family. So I can pray for you, like I pray for everybody else. So I started praying for them, to give them the strength and stuff like that. So we left it at that. We rolled out to we fast forward to the part where we were fighting the enemy. You know, there was a lot of dead Medina Republican Guard. Medina Republican Guard was Saddam Hussein's elite army, which they're supposed to be best of the best. There was like three armies that we fought that we went through. We destroyed the Medina. We destroyed another army that they had, another guard. We like three guards that we went through. I remember having them backed up back to back in a depression because we made it all the way to the top of the ridge, so we could see below us, and we had them in our sights. They were back to back, and there was a call made from higher for a ceasefire, not to continue fighting, to to cease fire, because then it would have been a massacre. Uh, the way we train, brothers and sisters, we train very highly. We train daily. We train to do our job over and over and over and over and over and over. So when it's time, when something arises, when we're in the midst of battle, it becomes first a nature, in which the things that we do in our job, we do it very swiftly and very fast, right? Because we practice it all the time, that we become that good. Um, I'm sure to tell you that I've seen many people lose their lives. I've seen somebody talk about the VA. The VA doesn't want to help out veterans. That's true. I was up there in the front lines, took out a lot of people, used my personal weapon to take out one person that jumped on my tank. He had an AK-47. He was going to shoot my crew with the AK-47. I had my personal 9mm on my chest holster. So I opened up my hatch because he jumped on our tank. The tanks were moving like probably like 4 to 5 miles because sand would go in VPEX. So this guy jumped on top of the tank with an AK-47. He had come out of a underground bunker. So he was smiling. He was looking at me. He was smiling. He had the AK-47, and he was fixing to shoot my crew. I opened my hatch real fast, and bullets were flying because the enemy was shooting at me, and I could see the bullets flying right all over my driver's hole. So I already had the gun pointed at him. So I made a sound, and when he looked down, he noticed that the tank slowed down. When he looked down, that's when I got him. I eliminated the enemy for hurting my crew. So he fell over. I closed my hatch while the bullets were still flying, and I gave my throttle some speed so we could keep them moving forward. I could hear the company commander saying, "What the hell are y'all doing, my platoon sergeant? What are y'all doing? What are y'all slowing down?" They didn't know what was happening because there was smoke from all the burning tanks. When we got very close to the enemy, like within 200, 300 yards. There was people coming out of underground bunkers trying to. Some were trying to fight, and there was a lot that had white flags where they were trying to surrender. You know. Let me read some of these comments before I continue. I hope you all enjoying this. This is the hardest time for me. Like whether it's this or when I lost my mother, but this right there is because what I witnessed is very hard for me. So let me see some of these comments that are here. Yeah, the Gulf War vets screwed. Yes, they do. Till this day, they don't want to help me for PTSD. They don't want to help. It's been since Operation Desert Storm. It's 90 all the way to 2023. They don't want to help me. When I got out in 2000 and for the military in 1999, they don't want to help me for PTSD. I can talk freely about it, but they don't want to help me. The VA pushes me away. I guess they've pushed out many veterans that way because they want them to finish their own lives, to take their lives, and which there's been many that have taken their lives. But it's the medicines that the facility from the VA gives the veterans that the side effects are suicide. So that's what's causing a lot of the veterans to take their lives is our own government. We're expendable. We're just a number to our government, and we're replaceable. I don't think the government wants to pay out to the veterans uh, what they truly owe us, so that they rather see us either kill ourselves or die of whatever conditions we have. And that's what I've witnessed since I've been going to the VA, that they don't give a damn about the veterans. If they did, it's right there plain and simple in the Duty 214s of where I've been. You know what I had to do. Uh, but they don't want to help me. You know, it's kind of like they want to get in my face, tell me things like if I'm a kid or that I don't know what I'm talking about. But they've never been there. They didn't fight the war with me. They didn't fight beside me, so they wouldn't understand where I'm coming from. Uh, but this is people that are probably college educated, that never seen combat, never see somebody lose their life tragically, or have taken a life. So they think they know everything, but in all honesty, they don't know jack shit. You know, I'm just being straight up right now. How you doing, brother Juno? Okay, I'm gonna continue. Whoever's here listening, if anybody wants me to answer a question, just send it right now. Whatever you got a question, ask me, and I'll answer it. No, the only way, brother, if I wouldn't enlist, I would enlist. But if our country was in jeopardy, where the enemy was trying to destroy even the innocent people, that haven't served, I will go volunteer for my country and fight the fight against the enemy. But I would not join. Now, if they want to pay me for volunteering, I would. But if there will be like the enemy will invade the U.S., I will fight. That's what we're supposed to do. If we don't fight, that's who's gonna protect us. Who's gonna fight or fight? It's kind of like me. For those who know me, if you look on our HCS on Facebook, I work out daily, Monday through Friday. If I don't take care of my body, right, who's going to take care of it for me? Is it you? It's definitely not the VA. I have to do what I have to do daily so I can keep on going. Whether I have assistance from the government or not, we have to find a way. Uh, if it's for the wrong reasons, and if our government is corrupted, which there's a lot of corruption within our government right now, I would not volunteer. Not unless something is happening here within the United States and our government has turned a leaf, right, and has become the enemy, then I would join we the people to take our government back, if that makes sense to you. But right now, the training is. I know the tanks have changed throughout the years. I got to be on a M1, M1A1, M1A2, and I was looking at being on an M1A3. But by now, with me, there's different components, and the tank has changed throughout the years. So the tank can do a lot of things right now. A lot of different technology. But if y'all noticed what happened with AT&T, where it's a cyber attack in that nature, if we rely too much on technology, if we make our tanks put a lot of technology in our tanks, the same thing can happen to our tanks or to our equipment, where we won't be able to use it because they're sending a signal to corrupt the technology. So, in a sense of where I'd rather do it the old-fashioned kind of way. But times change, and you have to go with the evolution of everything. You know, it's been 32 years for me And it's always hard because I remember everything for how it was. I remember I was in Germany. It was Christmas Day. They put us in a cargo plane on Christmas Day. And on Christmas Day, we were in a cargo plane that we were on red nets. It was no luxury airplane. We were up there in the, I don't know how long we were in the air to get to Saudi Arabia, but the walls were trembling. It was cold as hell. So we had to have our jackets on because you could see the walls trembling. Uh, Anything could have happened, when you're up there. But I remember getting into the desert where we get off these cargo planes. We could see our equipment on pallets, our tanks. This is before the war. Our tanks, I got stuck in a detail on our tanks where I had to load them on the railhead in Germany, where on the railhead in Germany, the wires, the electrical wires, like we keep our electricity underground. In Germany, the wires are up on top of the ground, and those wires are hot. So if a bird lands on those wires, it gets electrocuted. So I remember going to Bremerhaven because I got stuck on the tank detail to take the tanks and load them up on the naval cargo ships where we had to tie them up with chains. So because they were going to take the tanks overseas through the ocean. So I remember we were getting into to the bay, which is called Bremerhaven. Uh, Thank you, brother Juno. Um, and I remember as the we were fixing to stop, I seen a soldier on top of a Bradley. Bradley is something that scouts use or effort to use this sometimes. There's their tank. It's a smaller vehicle, shoots smaller rounds, but it's kind of like their tank. And I remember a guy, when you're because those live wires are hot, you gotta wear your Kevlar. You gotta have your Kevlar on. Uh, I seen a soldier on top of there, and he was just wearing his BDU hat. He didn't have his Kevlar on, and I seen the current jump from one line to the other. And as soldiers, we have our dog tags on our chest, right? And we keep a dog tag on our boots, on our left boot, just in case we die in combat. They'll be able to ID us. So I remember the current jump from one line to the other, and it hit this that soldier on top of the head. He fell overboard. That's like a 15, 20 foot drop. I don't know, like a 50-foot drop. He fell to the ground. Told the train conductor to stop the tank. I mean, to stop the train. He stopped the train. We got off. It was me and Specialist Gabi on that detail. So we run to this guy. As we're running closer to him, I don't see his head, but I see his body near the train. So when we get near him, you could smell like burnt hair. I noticed that he's just trembling. He's just trembling, like he's trembling. He's not responding. I'm asking him, "Are you okay?" He's not saying nothing. I check for a pulse. I was a combat lifesaver. We trained for that. Every tank has to have a combat lifesaver. So if somebody gets seriously injured, we know how to apply a tourniquet or do or patch up somebody that got shot by a big like a gun to try to keep them alive. So we train for those kind of serious of injuries. Well, so this guy, he was just moving like this. God rest his soul. Uh, his name was PFC Mosaic. I still remember his name. When you go through something, brother and sisters, you remember what you go through. I remember his name, and he wasn't even my unit. I just remember his name because it was something dramatic, right? So I'm trying to help him out, and what I do is I find where the entry wound is, which was on top of his head. So I'm following, and when I look at his chest, these BDUs, the green and brown camouflage ones, they're crumbling like they're burnt. They still have their color, but they're crumbling off his body. When I get to the dog tag on his chest, the rubber around it is melted on his chest. So that's not the. I didn't see no exit wound there. So I keep on looking and searching down his leg, and then I seen the exit wound, which was the bottom dog tag on his left foot, where it went out his body. He had a pulse, and he was still breathing, but he was breathing weird. He was just going like that, you know. So, the ambulance came, we picked him up, and he was sliding off our hands, and they took him, you know. About a week later, I found out that he had burned every bone in his body from the current, from the live wire. He burned he all his bones in his body. Basically, he had no bones. He burned every bone in his body. So the only thing that was keeping him alive was a life support. His parents, his parents came down and they disconnected the life support, because he was literally technically dead already. That was the first time I seen somebody die that was dead that I try to help. So that was in my mind, and it was kind of like set me up for what's to come because when we got there and we're downloading the tanks from the ships, I witnessed in the bay where there was a female soldier on top of the naval ship taking pictures with the M16s on her shoulders. She got too close to the edge, and the wind knocked her off, and she fell into the bay. She passed away. So it's kind of like I'm witnessing these things, and I hadn't even gone to combat, right? Of course, I had been through things in my life where I lost family members uh, through domestic violence and stuff like that, that I had already witnessed. So I'm seeing all these things. I have been through a lot of fights already in basic training and in my regular unit where I was being forced to fight, but dingo fights. So it's kind of like when I was out there, I wasn't just fighting the enemy. I was fighting the enemy within because, when you get in so many fights and people targeted you, you always got a target in your back. So imagine being in a combat environment and you don't trust nobody around you because you don't know if they're going to backstab you. You don't know if they're the ones that are going to try to do something to you, and that's from within the army. So it's kind of like when I was out there, I was hardly getting the rest, and my guards are always up, because I ain't trust nobody. Only a couple of my good friends I trusted, but everybody else I didn't trust. Uh, that that other story is with a lot of Badingo fights. I was forced to fight a lot of fights. So while I'm out there in combat, we fought the Medinah Rebellion Guard. We took him out and all this stuff. I remember uh, when I told him that because you got to report all your ammunition of what you used, and I reported one of my 9 mil bullets because that one bullet is the one that took out that soldier or the enemy that jumped on my tank. Uh, they didn't believe me. They were trying to give me an Article 15 for losing a bullet. So I told them, so if you don't believe me, go down the tank trail, and you're gonna in between the tank trails, there's gonna be a soldier, and if you look right in between his eyes, you're gonna find my 9 mil bullet in between his eyes. Go look. And when they went down there, there's a first sergeant, company commander, the platoon sergeants. They went down that tank trail, and they found that bullet right in between the guy's eyes, just like I said. Uh, those are the things that I remember, and the things that happen in combat. For example, I'll give you some of the stories, combat stories, while I was in the front lines in the Battle of Medina Ridge. Um, our tanks had the capability of having a smoke screen, which we hit the button and smoke starts coming out of the back of our tank, and it provides a smoke screen. After we had destroyed the Medina Republic Guard, they told us to put on a smoke screen and back up. It was in the middle of the battle to back up because they were going to call I think I can't remember the name of that airplane, P19, AK-19, that he just comes and shoots on the ground, right? Any targets that are out there. So we put on our smoke screen. We're backing up. As we're backing up, I remember seeing a lieutenant from that army coming out of the smoke screen. You could see the fear in his face. He was missing an arm. Blood was just gushing out of his arm. He was running. He running. He was so scared that he ran past our tank. I don't know if he survived or not. I'm thinking it. I'm thinking it didn't. As much blood was coming out of his arm, but that's the image that's here that I remember. Just like that soldier that I used my personal weapon, and other soldiers that were coming out of the ground. It was going like 5, 7 miles an hour, and they're popping right in front of my tank. I'm not slowing down my tank, so as they pop up, they come back down. It's kind of like they were getting broken in half by the tank itself. Some were getting run over. You know, there's a lot of people that lost their lives that way out there, where because they were in underground bunkers, and you know the tank weighs a lot. So if there's a bunker that's not sturdy enough, it's going to cave in. So where the lane I was going through, I ran over a lot of bunkers, and there was a lot of people that died in those bunkers. You know, but that's part of war. You know, what they were doing is they was trying to get us to pass by, so they could try to do something from the back. But they didn't have. We had already destroyed all their tanks, so the only thing they had is the personal weapons. And somebody with a personal weapon, with an AK-47, grenade launchers, is not going to be able to do nothing to a tank. Especially that were many tanks. Uh, People were coming out. There were some people that had white flags, surrendering. That didn't want to fight. They had the white flags already, waving the white flags that they were surrendering. Which many people surrendered. But at the same time, when I was out there, you know, my group is about things of the supernatural. I did witness what the people call in their country the djinn, where it was flying in the air in disembodied form. Now I call them DDN, and the djinn jumped into one of the soldiers that had a white flag that was given up. It went into him. It possessed that person. He dropped the white flag, picked up his weapon, his AK, his weapon, to shoot, and he got shot down. Right. So then the djinn jumped out of that person into another person that was holding a white flag, and it went on and on down the line, in which this unseen forces. You know, we're not talking about unseen spiritual war. It exists because I witnessed it out there in combat. You could say they're kind of like soul collectors. You know, they want people to to kill each other through chaos, through war, or to kill themselves, because you're just there to collect the soul. You know, so I witnessed what the djinn can do. I remember the guy that jumped on the tank. I'll be honest with y'all. You know, since we're here, yeah, the djinn brother Steven. What I witnessed of the guy that jumped on my tank, he didn't jump on my tank like 2 feet near me. No, this guy came out of a hole, slithering like a snake. When he come out of the hole, he was like 10 feet away from my tank. He jumped, literally, by just standing up, jumped a distance and landed on top of my tank. What I witnessed about his eyes, they were yellowish, in which to me, I felt that he had an unclean spirit, and I believe that spirit that he had was that of the djinn because of the glow of his eyes, how he was looking at me. But I did what I had to do to protect my crew. But I believe he was possessed by the djinn, or maybe other demonic spirits that reside in that part of the country. We see it all the time. I've seen it all the time, where the current American soldiers that still go over there to Iraq to guard the borders. That someone would get those attachments on them, so they come. Those attachments of the jinn or the unclean spirits that are over there. They come to the EOS. I witnessed that. I helped out a couple of soldiers that had the djinn on them when they came back from. I believe this guys they got the djinn when they went to what was it called? Someone went to Iraq, but what was the other country where they were going to there for a while? That's not the Iraq in Iraq. Was it Syria? They went somewhere over there. I believe it was in Syria, where they came back with negative attachments, where there was acting possessed, that were trying to hurt their family members, that wanted to kill the family and stuff like that. So I went into prayer and got rid of the djinn that was bonding them. So it is possible, of what I witnessed, that there is soldiers that have those attachments. You know, that they follow. Uh, I lost a family member that was in the military about 2 years ago. He was out there in those areas where the djinn is. He come back. He's a whole different person. He's looking at me and he asked me, "Hey, what's up with the djinn?" And Halloween comes. He's dressed like a djinn, acting weird. And I was like, well, I'm not thinking nothing of it. I'm thinking he's just playing around. But next thing you know, uh, he takes his life. And I'm thinking it was a djinn letting me know that he had him. I just, because I live in a different town, so I really didn't know what was going on uh, in my sister's family. But it was too late. But that's what they do. If they can get somebody to take their own life, that's a victory. Because I consider that the jinn, that somebody demonic Nephilim, the Legion, or any unclean spirit, like soul collectors, there's their mission, there's their job to try to deceive many people, bond people, and to put them in a situation. Combat is a situation where people lose their lives, or or situations where people could be, have spiritual openings, like people that are on drugs, people that are drinking, and there's a lot of soldiers that go that route because they want to forget of what they witnessed or what they've seen. I've never taken that route. I just maintained my love foundation because I witnessed a lot of things out there when I was in Operation Desert in the Battle of Medina Ridge. I stayed at the front lines after after the combat, where we were there for 3 days, standing where we were fighting, and I could see all the burning tanks around me because we were the front line. So there was nobody in front of us. We were the front line. All the other waves of lines that were supposed to fight didn't fight because the front line took care of everything. We took care of the enemy because we wanted to survive, right? So we had to do what we had to do to survive. So all the other people that were ready to fight were behind us. They never got to fight. They got stuck doing the details of capturing the people that were giving them up. They were got detailed to watch over the camps where they're having them captive. That's what they got detailed to do, because we were the ones that fought the enemy. So I was stuck in the front lines, where I stood there like 3 days after the battle, and I'm still seeing the burning tanks. I'm smelling death because of all the dead bodies that are still out there. There was no body bag detail to probably like the fourth or fifth day. But what was there was dogs, lots of dogs, in which you could hear the dogs feasting as they're eating body parts and the dead carcasses of humans, of the enemy, and then you could hear the dogs fighting for food. So when the sun would rise, all that noise of the dogs that were made when they were eating the flesh, till this day it bothers me. That sound of them eating and fighting. It bothered me to the day. I have 4 dogs, and it bothers me if I hear them eat in a certain way. It bothers me because how I was stuck up there. I would try to get some rest when I was out there. I remember that I could hear something breathing by my neck, making like a growling sound. So I was trying to figure out because I was on the front slope of the tank, right? So it's like I was trying to find out what was doing that, what was coming near me. I thought it was an enemy that was still in the underground bunker because there hadn't been a detail of anybody coming trying to get people to surrender that were still stuck in any kind of fox in any underground bunkers, right? So one day I just left all my gear on, and when I started hearing the growl that I would hear near me, I jumped out of my sleeping bag, and when I looked, it was a big white dog. The dog was the way he was coming at me. It was coming like a lion hunting its prey. And when he see me jump off the tank, it started running at me, charging at me. I started running towards it, and he lunged for my throat. And when he was going for my throat, I went off on him. I beat the crap out of that dog, man. I kicked him in the jaw. He started flying in the air. I started beating the crap out of him in the air. And there was all kinds of commotion. And people were trying to figure out, the first sergeant was trying to figure out what the hell was going on. The company commander was trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And the dog took off running away from me because I was fixing to kill it because he was trying to kill me. You know, they they got used to eating humans, so he was seeing me as a meal. So I told him what happened and all this stuff, and they put an ordinance, an order to kill all the dogs that were out there. So that day, the engineers were killing all the animals that were out there. Didn't matter if there were puppies or whatever, since they had already been feasting on the flesh of the Indian Republican Guard. They put an order to kill all the animals that were out there. And then after that, they had a guy come with a microphone, talking their language, saying if there's anybody there that the war's over, to come out, surrender, to give up, that it was over, and all this. And then a couple of days after they moved us back, maybe like about a week later, they had the body bag detail, where I didn't do the body bag detail. My one of my close friends, he was in charge of the body bag detail. He was a NBC NCO. Uh, he was in charge of that, so he got stuck in that. Now imagine getting stuck in that body bag detail, where you have to go pick up body parts, hands, legs, kids, guts, whatever's left. That was their mission. I'm glad I didn't do that detail. Like I seen a lot of people that did that detail, that when they did it, they had the mob gear. They were all dressed up with their equipment, so they wouldn't be, how should I say, exposed to any kind of diseases. But just the image of them picking up that stuff, it affects them for the rest of their life. Me, I witnessed them because I was out there in the front lines, and I was seeing the dead bodies. Whether one where they're so stiff because they lost all their bodily fluids, they look like mannequins of some sort. But do you see the entry one of where a 50 caliber round went into them, and then it came out where it blows their whole back. This video is not for everybody that wants to know about combat or what happens in combat. I'm here talking about this 32 years of the Battle of Medinah Ridge, of what I was involved in. When people said that there was no chemicals out there, they're lying to y'all. We got hit by blood agent, We got hit by uh, what do you call it? Agent. There was some Agent Orange out there, and there was also we also got hit by anthrax. This is in the Battle of Medina Ridge. There was the underground bunkers. They had barrels of anthrax. They had an underground obstacle that they blew up behind us before we went to fight them, and it was nothing but white powder. It was anthrax. We geared up real fast, put on our protective mask, and jump in the tank. Our tank has a overpressurized system that it sucks anything out from inside the tank, and that's what we used. We once we did a M256 kit inside the tank to make sure there was no chemicals. Then we took off our protective mask and we went to go fight. I hope I'm not boring y'all. I'm just speaking. Like I said, this talk is not for everybody. I can speak it freely because I remember what I've been through in my life and for what I witnessed. As y'all see, I'm not reading anything. I'm just sharing y'all my experiences of what I've been through and why 32 years. It's 32 years since that battle. And what's crazy is my birthday is February 2nd, and I went to war during the month of my birthday, which is already tonight, which is the 20 the minute. Yeah, it's past 27th. It's when the Battle of Medina Ridge happened, February 27th. So I went to war on the day on my birthday. I was already out there, February, and in February is when I went to battle to fight the Medina Republican Guard, which was Saddam Hussein. You know how many times they would talk about how bad they were, and y'all gonna face the best army, the best this, the best that, and we overcame them big time. You know, destroyed them. Uh, but we had to do what we had to do to survive. When you're in a combat, we were in a big line formation, like a V shape, or it was in a V. It was like a wing, and we were the farthest tank on the line to the left. And what's supposed to happen? There's supposed to be two lines coming from different directions, and capture the enemy within the middle. So we have the line formation firing, and the right flank and the left flank shooting at the enemy. But the enemy wouldn't be able to see the left or the right flanks till it was too late because they were gonna catch them from the sides. But I'm just reminiscing, brothers and sisters, wherever you're viewing. Y'all got any questions? You're more than welcome. But yes, brother Stephen, I witnessed the gen out there, not just during combat. I witnessed it back in 1995 when I went back out there to guard the Iraqi border. Uh, that's what there was rotations going in and out after the war to guard the borders just in case Saddam decided to cross over into Kuwait. So it was a Kuwaiti Iraqi border where we would go guard like 5 to 6 months out of the year. There was details that would go where companies would get volunteered, and that happened for a long time when we were guarding those borders till we got everybody out of there. We were the ones guarding the border, for a long time. You're welcome, brother Stephen. You're welcome. It's just some people don't understand uh, the mind of a veteran. They don't understand how highly trained we really are. That when somebody comes, I've had people come at me in a negative way because they think they know everything, but they've never been in my shoes. They haven't been in the battles that I've been. They haven't never been in combat. So there's some people that I've noticed that have stolen valor. That they try to say that they serve the military, but they can never name their unit. They can never say any kind of stories of combat, and they stolen valor, where they're making up stories that they said they've been in combat. They try to say they're Navy SEALs and all this stuff, but they can't show their DD 214. That's proof that they were in the military. They can't show their VA card, because they're saying they're combat veterans. There's veterans that serve that probably have never seen nothing, no live combat. But then you have combat veterans, in which I fall into that category because I was involved in combat. So there's two different kind of veterans. You got veterans that support that do have a combat patch also, but they haven't seen combat. Me, I was there. There's people that come at me just like, I have the proof. I've showed my proofs of where I've been, that I'm an Iron Knight. See my unit crest. This one here is from Fort Hood. This is from 212, 212 Cav. And this one here is from my unit I went to combat with in Germany. This unit crest has got like an armadillo. Is it like a iron armadillo? This is where they call me Iron Knight. This unit crest is from 135 Armor when I was stationed in Erlangen, Germany. Right here is the liberation of Kuwait ribbon for liberating Kuwait City. This the patch for my the company I went to combat. And it's these old iron sides. Got a picture of the tank. It says First Armored Division. Literally, a knight. I'm Cerseus. I could say I'm Cerseus. I got the paperwork for it. I was Iron Knights in Germany, and when I got to the Cav, uh, uh, I was a Black Knight there, and then when I got across the chest to work with infantry, they were a different knight, but they would give me paperwork of that was a part of them because I went to a location where it's considered a combat environment, so. That's my testimony of why people don't respect, they don't respect the veteran of where I've been. No, I have a lot of people that do respect me, that know what I'm about, but they don't know what I've been through, what I've seen, what I witnessed. I'm just sharing some of the things that I've witnessed to y'all, not to get any kind of deeper than that, because it's not good to talk about it. We're not supposed to rejoice over the enemy. That's not good. Me, I'm just celebrating 32 years that from the Battle of Medinah Ridge that we survived a 7-to-1 ratio, 7 of their tanks to 1 of our tanks, that our front line survived that, and that I'm still here alive, and I was able to overcome the enemy through Jesus Christ. And that's why I'm talking about this. So, when people, they're like playing games, like I said, they've never seen anything, that if they were to see the things that I've witnessed, they'd probably faint, because they'd probably faint, or they'll probably get PTSD and faint, and without even seeing experiencing nothing, they'll probably faint, Uh, I remember there was a soldier, E7. He was a mechanic. We were working on a tank, and he knew that we were going to go get ready to roll out to go fight the enemy. And he said he didn't want to die. I said, "You're not going to die." I said, "We're going to fight. We're going to protect everybody behind us. We're going to go fight." He went into the restroom. It was an outdoor latrine. It went into the outdoor latrine, and he never came out. He never came out because he took his life without giving us a chance to go fight the fight for survival, right? That's how unseen forces work. The DDN, the 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 degen. I had a person try to tell me that the degen, some degens are good and some degens are bad. That's what they try to tell me. Beelzebub cannot cast out Beelzebub. Demons are not going to fight demons. Uh, unclean spirits are going to. Basically, negativity against negativity is not going to make it positive. That's what they try to tell me. And I was like, how can you tell me this? They try to say they have tattoos on them. That's not what I witnessed. I didn't see a person with tattoos on their body. The degen is not something in the flesh. The degen is the same thing as the DDN. It's something that's in disembodied form. But they have demonic powers. They can manifest to look like something, but as they can manifest, they can disappear also. Not to take away from people that practice other things that's besides Jesus Christ, but I've been there. I've seen what they can do. I was in the front lines and I've seen firsthand what the gens are about. What they're about is trying to destroy as many humans as possible for their souls. That's what they're about. So if you think that a degen is good, I'm just here to tell you you're wrong because that's not what a win is. And if people are summoning degens, that's like a form of witchcraft or necromancy. They're summoning demons. So that's nothing good in that. I'm just here being straight up with y'all because I have a lot of friends, a lot of people that tune in that believe in other things. I'm just letting you know if they're summoning a degen or a genie, whatever you want to call it, they're summoning them. What do you summon? You summon if you're worshiping something or believing in something. What do you summon? You don't summon Jesus Christ. You pray to Jesus Christ. But when you summon something, it's because that's summoning something demonic. That's what that is. Yes, brother. I try to tell people but what they do have the abilities. Maybe if something differs up and show up to herself, they have the ability to change uh, how they look. So maybe she did see somebody with tattoos that looked a certain way, you know, whether it was a person or a degen, you know, but they have the capability to manifest to look different. They don't, I believe that person said that the degen uh, had tattoos. I didn't see no degen with tattoos jumping into people out there. It was something in disembodied form, in spirit form, like a dark mass of like a shadow or in spirit form jumping into people. The openings I believe that the soldiers had out there was the Medina Republican Guard is because when they invaded Kuwait, they killed a lot of women and they killed a lot of children. So if the degen or demonic forces were out there, is because there were spiritual openings and there were souls to be claimed for the actions that they did against humanity. We ran into a mass grave site where there was dead women and dead children in Kuwait. So we took it upon ourselves when we witnessed this, as we were the front lines. We said to ourselves, we're going to go and defeat this army by any means necessary. We're going to defeat this army that killed these women and children. And that's exactly what we did in the Battle of Medina Ridge. Now I hear what people say, oh, you're fighting for the oil, you're fighting for this, you're fighting for that. No. We were just liberating Kuwait, which means get the enemy out of Kuwait. And that's exactly what we did. That was our mission, to liberate Kuwait. We went liberated Kuwait. The remainder of the forces crossed back across the Iraqi border and went into their land. But our army was big enough that we could have gone into their country and taken over their country, but that wasn't our mission. I believe if we would have tried to do something like that, there could have been a world war happen because of that. But we didn't. You know, we just liberated Kuwait. Yeah, brother Stephen. Uh, you know, I've had a lot of people come up against me in a negative way because they don't understand me. They know I'm a veteran, and when I talk myself, you know, when you're in the military, you get rank. You start from an E nothing, you go to a private first class, uh, specialist, corporal, sergeant. Right? You climb the rank. Same rank structure for a non-commissioned officer. They go in as a bar lieutenant to a lieutenant to a captain to a major. So when you get a rank, you and like my last rank was a sergeant. So I call myself Sergeant CS because that's the last rank that's on my DD 214 that I left the military as a sergeant. So when I say, for example, what would it say Sergeant CS making alive right now? There's people that want to target me trying to say that I'm talking through a second party named Sergeant CS, but I'm literally talking as by my last rank. That's Sergeant CS, you know, and by then, all the experience from when you were a private, from each rank to your sergeant, that's within you, you know. So I can talk if I was a private, stories of what I seen, what I witnessed as a private, which I said to y'all, because I was a private when I went out of combat. So I've said the stories. I could call myself anything, because I wore that rank. You know, I wore that rank in the military, and the way you can earn that rank is you have to climb the ladder, and they pin it on you. So there's nothing wrong of me calling myself Sergeant CS, or if Sergeant CS decides to say something to somebody that's coming in a negative way, it's just me, you know, or you know, Sergeant CS is just my last rank in the military, and Sergeant CS, or if you look up any of my ranks of what I've been through and what I've witnessed, I'm always ready for anything. You know, I'm always ready for anything. For those people that think just because I talk about Law Foundation, they don't think I have it in me to fight or to go into combat. It's still within me. You know, it's always going to be within me because I was a soldier. There was a lot of money invested in the training that we did. So I'm always going to be a soldier. So when I go to the VA, the reason sometimes the VA don't want to help me because they know where I've been, they know what I've done. So to put people around me because they know I'm a combat veteran, they know of what I did when I was in the battle on Medinah Ridge. So when people come at me, they come at me with fear because they know what I've seen, what I've experienced, what I've done. They don't want me to talk about it. I created spiritual encrypted encounters for those who follow me there, positive spiritualist, and I hear on YouTube that you see me live, and I thank you for joining me whoever's here. Uh, I created this for me because my own government ain't giving me the help, so I see this as help for me to let out of what I've been through and share it with the audience, so they can be aware that when you hear the news or you hear the corrupt government talking badly about soldiers and tainting us with a bad reputation, that's not true. That's what they want the people to think. They want society to think that because they want division. They want people to be angry at soldiers. But we are truly American heroes because we did volunteer. But our government dislikes when we go fight what they're affiliated with. I remember those fights. I tried to go back in the military when the Second War broke out. I went with my brother-in-law that God rest his soul to rejoin, but they wouldn't let me in because of my condition that I had. I tried to go back in 2002, 2003, but they wouldn't let me back in. I was trying to go back in with my rank as sergeant, but because of my conditions, they wouldn't let me go back in the military. Um, it was dealing with an accident that I had, but I tried to go back to fight. So I think that would answer the question to whoever asked me earlier if I will fight again. I tried to join to go fight, to go assist because I had nephews. I mean, I had cousins that were in the military, and I wanted to go be out there with them, And as the years went by, I had nephews or my some of my cousins' sons that joined the military. That they were out there bearing the same last name as me. One of them joined to be a tanker like me. I think there was like three tankers. It was him, and one of my cousins was out there also as a tanker. There was like a bunch of CS out there serving their country. Um, but yes, and the government or anybody affiliated with the government, the news, they don't like for a veteran to come out in the open and say what they have to say. Me, I say it regardless. I don't care if they get pissed off. I don't care if they send somebody to come after. I don't. I'm going to say what I have to say. I mean, it's kind of like where I've been and what I've done. Do you think I'm afraid? Do you really think I'm afraid of somebody that works for the government that's an agent of some sort that's going to try to come after me? Do you think? I think they're more afraid of me. They're more like, let's not mess with this guy. This guy is a very dangerous person. Can we go to the next to the next guy? That's somebody that's not as a combat veteran like him. We know where he's been. They just leave him alone. Just not mess his peace. Even they know they're smart enough to know who to mess with. Uh, but I'm going to say what I have to say regardless. I'm not afraid of the FBI. I'm not afraid of nothing that has to do with the government, anything affiliated with the government. I'm not afraid. I'm going to say what I have to say. I deserve to say what I have to say. It's freedom of speech. Just like I was out there protecting people that are here, their freedoms, right? That's what I'm supposed to. The same people that troll me and come at me in a negative way, I'm protecting their freedom of speech, where I'm able to say what I have to say through my freedom of speech. However I say it, it doesn't matter. I'm able to do that. That's what I fought for when I went out to combat, is for our freedoms. And I see that a lot of our freedoms, or a lot of our freedoms, are manipulated through a crooked government. Then that's what we become, we the people, and we unite, and we take over what belongs to us, which is we the people, our government. And then I don't think this correct government that we got right now, the people in power, I don't think they want we the people to unite. Because if we do unite, we're gonna it's gonna be crazy, man. I'm telling you. Thank you, brother Stephen, for your nice, kind words. I know sometimes they're trying to share something spiritual. Sarcias decides to pop in because maybe I'm going through something where people are coming at me in a negative way, or people are playing games. I can see all this. I know who's who. I know there's affiliations with people. I knew my soldiers. I knew everything about the soldiers that were under me. I knew their strength. I knew their weaknesses. I wonder what they were about. That was my job. So in that sense of a way, I know when somebody is coming at me in a negative way, trying to play games. I don't. That's one thing. For these people that like to play games, if you're in a real life situation in combat and you think you're gonna play games out there, you're not gonna make it out of combat. Is it because that's where you're gonna remain by playing games. Because when you're in a situation that's serious, then it needs all your undivided attention. We don't need no comedians, or we don't need no people playing games, because in that location, the Battle of Medina Ridge, people can live and people can die. Just put it this way: all my unit came back 100%. We didn't lose a single soldier. That's how bad 135 Armor was, our unit. We all made it back. Now, what happened when we made it back? We lost some people that sent us to leave. We lost like two soldiers that went back home. I guess they must have been involved with gangs, and they didn't make it back to the unit. They survived combat, but when they went back to their hometowns to visit the family as war heroes, the people within the streets took their lives. And that crazy. Oh yes, brother Steven Skiba. If you look into my profile, it says always maintain the love foundation. If you look into my old videos of positive spiritualist, it says that I had before positive spiritual. I had a different positive spiritualist, but a lot of people came at me in a negative way because I'm bringing the spiritual aspect of things into the paranormal community, into the cryptic community. So they targeted me because they feel offended. They feel that I'm trying to take away from Bigfoot, from Dogman, from Mothman, you know. But they don't target the people wearing the fake the costumes. They don't target the people hoaxing. They want to target someone that's trying to do good in their community by letting them know about the disembodied demonic Nephilim, the unclean spirits, how they can manifest to infiltrate, to get you to believe. Once they get you to believe that you're witnessing a Bigfoot, a Dogman, or a cryptid, then that's a spiritual opening to use this to attack you. Because what are you doing? You're believing that you're seeing this, and that's what he uses to attack. Once you give it the belief factor. If you when people and I tell people, well, how come they look like Bigfoots and Dogmans, and they look like monsters? It's because that's the manifestation they take. They want to look beastly for what else? For the fear factor. So if you start fearing them, you're already believing in them. You start fearing them, then that right there is another spiritual opening it can use to either bond you or possess you, because you're believing in it and you're already fearing it. That's the two worst things you can do. So if it attaches itself to you when you walk inside your home and you don't do the proper things of, for example, praying before you go into an investigation. If activity starts happening around you, go into prayer, or you tie bind and rebuke the unclean spirits or demons through Jesus Christ. When you leave the area, you say nothing to follow you, and you do a prayer to protect you so nothing can follow you or try to attach itself to you. If you do that, what they've done by manifesting to look beastly, by getting you to believe and through fear, they've attached themselves to you that bonded you, and at times that could possess you, then which you're going to be acting different. You walk into your home and you're taking it inside your home involuntarily with an automatic invite because you're believing in them and you've you're fearing them. And what I mean by that is once there in your house and activity starts happening in your home, I've seen it, brothers and sisters. I've seen this woman where she says that she's seen a Bigfoot in the woods. Next thing you know, like a day later, she makes another post and she says, "Hey guys, the Bigfoot is living in my living room." That's what she says. The Bigfoot is living in my living room. Sorry to say that she put the belief factor that she's seen a Bigfoot, and through that belief factor, it attached itself to her, entered her home. So what she's witnessing in her living room is not a Bigfoot. It's a demonic spirit because that's what they do. They get you to believe. They get you to fear. That's what they do. That's how they enter your homes. Y'all seen the videos, guys? Come on, crypto community. Where are you at? Where's all the crypto communities that got so many names for Sasquatch? What do they call them? Sasquatch, Yeti, and Booga Wooga, or I don't know. All these different names that y'all give this supposedly blood and flesh creatures. When I know otherwise, and I know that people dislike the truth, and that's what I'm not gonna BS you. Just like I talked because I remember all my brother in arms, and I spoke from my heart to y'all. I'm not gonna BS you about this. I'm just straight up, just like I was talking to you straight up of where I've been. I've seen this. There was this person that told me that they seen one. And so next time I see it, I'm gonna put it to the test, brother Abe. So next time I see it, I'm gonna put it to the test, like you said on that video, to rebuke it in Jesus Christ's name. He said he's seen it again, and when he say I tie bind and rebuke you in Jesus Christ's name, that it disappeared, it vanished. In which the test was when you see it in supposedly in the manifestation it takes, which was the Bigfoot manifestation. I told him to put it to the test. And the test was to say, I tie, bind, and rebuke you in Jesus Christ's name. If it didn't disappear, then that I would say that I was wrong all along. But when he said that to it, it vanished, in which it means that it's demonic. It disappeared in thin air. And after that, he started not giving it power anymore. He had no power over him no more because he knew exactly what to do. Trust me, I know people are quickly ready to go do a footprint. See, for the people that are trying to, that's your work. You've been doing it for years, taking footprints, taking hair samples. The works I do, I help people that are being spiritually bonded, spiritually attacked. And through my works, I see your works, and I know how to work around your work because I know. Look, I'm not gonna lie. They have abilities. This DDM, they have abilities to leave things behind. When you say you got hair samples, I believe you. You say you got footprints, I believe you. Uh, Scat, they leave things behind when they go back into the realm. They're only here temporarily. When they take a manifestation, they can only manifest temporarily. So they can leave things behind, whether it's a footprint, hair sample, because of the manifestation that they take. But sometimes, if they could disappear and their appearance disappears, well, that what they leave behind disappears also because it was part of the manifestation. So sometimes it's very hard for me to believe that people have this kind of things that they say they have about them, because if they disappear, they take everything with them, right? They take in the form of what they take. There's, but the reason I say that I've seen them leave things behind is because I witnessed something like that when I was a kid at my grandma's house, where I was hearing all kinds of different animals outside. I was hearing lions, I was hearing elephants, horses, cows, sheep, pigs, and they were making all kinds of ruckus at nighttime in our yard. And we were praying, because to me it was something evil. We were praying, saying, when we woke up in the morning, I went outside. It was 4 lots. The 4 lots was nothing but manure, different kinds of crap on the 4 lots. Me and my brother spent a whole Saturday morning shoveling all that, a morning and afternoon. So by the time we got all the different kinds of poops, I'm talking about different kinds. It wasn't the same. It was all different. That night, the same thing happened. These manifestations came, I guess, making all kinds of noise of the manifestations of different animals, and they left the same thing. So we spent Saturday and Sunday shoveling stuff. It only happened one time in my life, but I had to pick it up. That's how I know that demons, they come in many, right, and they come in many forms. So they can leave residue behind. You know, I believe that because the reason I believe that is because I shoveled it out of the yard and put it in the backyard. And no, I didn't live in Africa. I lived in Texas. But when these demons manifest like that, they come in any beastly manifestation they can take, or any form they can take. Uh, but yes, in that nature, I can tell you this right now, through the paranormal, spiritual, of the balance, that they have those capabilities of doing that, just like they have capabilities of making contact with you if you have a spiritual opening, like for example, forgiveness, hatred, anger, fear. Once you give them power in that nature, they can make contact with you physically. Not that they're going to manifest to you physically, but they're going to come at you in disembodied form, but you're going to feel the impact because you have a spiritual opening that can hit you, that can shove you, that can push you. So that's why when you forgive, you cut any negative ties. You take the fear factor out of it, any kind of vengeance out of it. So it's kind of like a generational curse. That's how it works. So once you cut those negative ties, then they have no jurisdiction over you. Matter of fact, that's what I'm going to do right now. As we're talking about this, maybe this is why I got to talk about this. At this time, Heavenly Father, I would like to pray for all the people that lost their lives in the battle on Medinah Ridge, from any army. I would like to pray for all those that have lost their lives. If there was people that could be saved, Heavenly Father, because somewhere within them they had good, send your heavenly angels right now. We tie, bind, and rebuke any negative energies, any negative curses, anything dealing of war. We tie, bind, and rebuke anything of that nature through you, Heavenly Father, through Jesus Christ. You're our Lord or Savior or Protector or Avenger, and you can make positive things happen. I witnessed it for myself. When you showed me, you were there for me, and you showed me what you can do through when the gates of heaven open. How you can control Mother Nature itself. Thank you, Heavenly Father. This I pray in your name. Amen. Amen. I felt I had to pray for that. I feel a little bit good right now. I feel like something has been lifted off of me. Maybe, maybe things will get better. But I know that I have a calling, and my calling is to continue to awaken my brothers and sisters spiritually. For those who don't know me, my friends call me Abe, Abe Cias. That's me. Uh, I have a group call. You're on it right now. Spiritual Encrypted Encounters here on YouTube, and I have Spiritual Encrypted Encounters on Facebook. You're more welcome to subscribe here or to join my group on Facebook. I'll add you. Also, I have a TikTok under ApeCS. I believe it's ApeCS895 or just ApeCS. I have a lot of short reels of this disembodied demonic Nephilim that I speak of. That there are amongst us, that there is an unseen spiritual war amongst us. You're more welcome to check it out. Uh, I have this new group that I just created that I want to focus on the disembodied demonic Nephilim. It's called The Rise of the DDN, Disembodied Demonic Nephilim. You're more welcome to join there too. Uh, and that one I'm trying to focus on placing pictures, of the DDN, how they manifest around us, and that's what they are. The disembodied demonic Nephilim are the Nephilim, but they're in disembodied form, in which we call demons or unclean spirits. And that's what's amongst us, causing all the chaos and havoc. Sometimes that you feel a certain way, that you're upset, and you're trying to figure out, why am I upset? Possibly a disembodied demonic Nephilim has attached itself to you, or you start having thoughts, bad thoughts coming into your mind. And you're like, why am I thinking that? I'm not even thinking that. Well, it's because it's not you. It's something trying to put that in your head. So what do? When a bad thought comes into your mind? Rebuke it in Jesus Christ's name. If it's something bad that you see something happening to somebody that you might know, that you love, rebuke it in Jesus Christ's name. Because that's how these unseen forces work. I've seen it where, I always run into people that have this demonic spirits in them, unclean spirits, whether you want to call it the Legion, demons, whatever, DDN. I run to them all the time here, when I go to the stores, when I go to the restaurants, or even if I go for a walk. That suffers up, and what's within them is letting me know, sending a message to me through them, because it's within them. So what I do is I tie, bind, and rebuke him in Jesus Christ's name. When I do that, the unclean spirit flees, and the person becomes normal. And I start having a normal conversation with the individuals, trying to find out what's going in their lives. And when I hear the stories, I'll tell them exactly what to do to get back in the right track. Yeah, there's a lot of people, brothers and sisters, in the paranormal community and the crypto community that I've witnessed, that might have a page or a group that might have something dealing with God in it, or they have some kind of prayer or some kind of verses, but or they might even have that they're believing Bigfoot. That I found out that some of those people are falsifying themselves in that nature, where they really do not believing in Jesus Christ, but they believe in Lucifer, because that's what they worship. So you got to be careful for those that are trying to feed you, to tell you to believe in a Bigfoot, to believe in a dogman, because if they're demonic, then they're telling you to believe in demons. So you got to be careful with that. Follow your heart is the best thing that I can tell you, because your heart will guide you. Some people call it the sixth sense or the seventh sense, sixth sense, but your heart's never going to lie to you. Spirit is not going to lie to you. Follow your spirit, follow your heart. I always follow my spirit and my heart when I go out there and investigate. I'm taking a break from the investigations. I think I've put out a lot of information out there, a lot of pictures, that I really don't have to go out there and investigate too much no more. But I will continue to do kind of the videos that I do right now, that I'm speaking to y'all as me for you to get to know me. You see, I'm just talking to y'all straight up. I'm not reading no stories that somebody says something. I'm just talking to you straight up because that's what I'm about. I want you to know me for who I am, and if anybody is going through something spiritually, I'm here to assist you as a brother, spiritual brother. If you need help, guidance, how to get rid of something out of your house that you feel that your house is being infiltrated, contact me. I can help you. If you feel that your body is being infiltrated, I can help you. We can pray. We can get rid of what's there. If you need me to show you how to cleanse your home to get rid of anything negative out of your home, I can do that also. All this through Jesus Christ, brothers and sisters. All the wisdom and knowledge that I have of doing these things is because I've seen a lot of things throughout my life since I was 2, all the way to now, and I'm here to assist, to awaken my brothers and sisters. This is my main job. I got blessed. I should be gone here. I shouldn't be here speaking to y'all right now. But the Heavenly Father blessed me to come back into this vessel, into this body, because what I understand, I was clinically dead for 20 minutes at a hospital, King Daughter's Hospital. They had made me sign a piece of paper for my organs. They said I was clinically dead. They didn't tell me right off the bat I was clinically dead, but all I remember is being somewhere else, and I could see the earth below me. I could see some translucent stairs, but it looked like they were made out of gold of some sort. And I could see a foundation. I could see a bright light and a figure. And I was told to stop. I was told what did I want, and I spoke truthfully, just like I'm speaking truthfully to you right now. And I said I want to be with my son because my son was 2 at the time, and I was worried about him because I love my son. So then they told me you shouldn't be here this far. I said I want to be with my son. I said, and then they told me again, what are you doing here then? You want to be with your son. So to me, that was a blessing to go back to my body. So I remember going through the stars, going into the atmosphere, going into the building of the hospital, going from floor to floor into my body, where my body was already, the eyes were white, my body was going into convulsions. I remember my spirit entering into this damaged body, and when I didn't have to open my eyes because the was already open, so I got my vision automatically. When I got my vision automatically, the doctor opened the curtain, and I was seeing the doctor. The doctor was looking at me. He had a smile on his face. When he see me looking at him, his smile turned into fear, and he ran out of the room. I was told I had to be there for 2 weeks. They sent me from the VA to there because they said they had no room for me at the VA. So next thing you know, I had like 3 or 4 nurses, RNs come into the room. Not even 5 minutes when he took off running. They told me to to get my stuff and get out of there. And I'm like, wait a moment. I said, you all told me I got to be here for 2 weeks because the blood clot that I got is huge. And they told me to leave or they were going to call security. I remember getting in my truck. I don't even know. All I know is I remember getting in my truck. I was driving. I don't know what they injected me with or whatever, but I pulled the side of the road because I was sweating. I looked, I could see blood coming out of my nose, out of my mouth. Even through my tears, blood was coming out. Or a taint of blood, should I say. And I got a phone call. And it was my sister's brother-in-law looking for my sister. When I was talking to her, I didn't even know what I was saying, that she didn't understand me. So she called my sister that there was something wrong with me. So my sister started talking to me. I was telling them I was talking blubberish because I was all out of it. I don't even know how I made it home. I got home. My sister was waiting for me. I went, she laid me down, and I was fighting for my life. I didn't know what was happening to me or what was going on, but I was fighting for my life. I remember seeing, you talk about wraith, or you talk about the death angels, or what do you call them? Death. I've seen 7 or 8 of them in my room where they were standing around me and they were reaching for me, and I could see their hands. There were skeleton. When my sister entered the room, I believe she seen them also because she went straight into prayer. She was praying for me. She got by me, and I was swinging because they were reaching for me. And my sister was praying, and I said, "What am I doing?" I said to myself, "Where's your faith, Abe?" So I went into prayer myself, and I started praying the Our Father within myself because I was kind of groggy. So I started praying the Our Father, and whatever was there left out of the room. Monday came along. I went back to the VA for a checkup. When they checked my blood, they found out that I had, I think they said 11.9 blood thinner in my system. They said there's no way I should have had that much blood thinner in my system because your organs will fail. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that hospital that I went to that made me sign for my organs, they tried to take my life by making my organs fail so they can collect the organs. To make a long story short, people started following me. There were those nurses. Wherever I went to with my son, they would say, "We know who you are. You shouldn't be alive." And then one of them said, "It's your fault he's dead." And I'm like, what is she talking about, I had a guy that moved beside me that was throwing rocks at my home, an ex-veteran. And he said he was taking in his granddaughter, his brother's son and daughter into his home. Then he started getting me in trouble with the office, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on with this guy. So I say, "Hey, tell me what's going on. Why do you hate me? Why are you causing all these problems towards me?" He said, "This is what he told me. It's your fault. My brother is dead." I said, "Man, I don't even know who your brother is. I've never met your brother." And he said, "Yes, you have." So you've met my brother. It's your fault he's dead. I said, "Well, who's your brother?" He said, "He was a doctor that seen you at King Daughter Hospital. He took his life because of you. He literally committed suicide." I said, "Look, I went there because I needed help. If I feel that they try to take me out because of the levels of blood thinner that I had that make my organs fail so I could die. But it's not up to them. It's not up to your brother. It's up to Jesus Christ whether I live or die." I said, "But I'm gonna do one for you. So I'm gonna let you avenge your brother's death because you're blaming me that I took him. I'm more unsure because of what happened to me that your brother has taken other people's lives in this hospital. I know for a fact. I believe your brother, when he see me come back to the living, in which there's no way I should be here, is then at that time he found out that there is someone we have to pay for our sins, and that's Jesus Christ, because he's the one that allowed me to come back in. He chose the easy way out because he didn't want to face the maker for all the lies he's taken. So he took the easy way out because of what he witnessed. He witnessed that God does exist and that I was a walking miracle because he blessed me to be amongst the living. So I'm going to get you to avenge your brother's death. At the same time, since I was clinically dead. I'm avenging my death too. And if it's you that I'm going to take it on out on, so be it. That's how we're going to handle this. I went inside his house because he lived right beside me. He had moved there to mess with me. Now within 2 days he was out of there. I never seen him ever again. But he knew. He brother knew. I'm not sure they talked with each other. He knew what he was doing. When I walked in there was a guy right beside me, an African American. He had hoses all over her body. I walk in there all, with my blood clot. I had a blood clot from my foot all the way up and through my body. When I walk in there, he's moving his feet like this. Both of his feet. He's telling me no with his feet. And I'm looking at him. Then he's looking at me with his eyes. And he's moving his eyes like this, side to side, telling me no. Like telling me to get out of there. So, you know, I think he needed spiritual help. So I prayed for him. Grabbed him by his foot. And I prayed for him before I went to go lay down. But that when he was doing that, he was warning me about what they were about. That hospital doesn't exist no more, but where their hospital used to be called King Daughters Hospital. Now it's called Children's McLean's Hospital. I tried to get my records from there. What happened today? They wouldn't give them to me. But how can you blame me for for if Jesus Christ blessed me to come back and the people that was doing the evil works, they're scared. They're running scared. It's kind of when you hear about Lazarus rising from the dead. That's me. Uh, but those people, they were scared, afraid of me because I'm more sure they knew. I mean, you're a doctor, you're a nurse, you know what's going on in your little group, in your little, how should I say, shift. You know what's up. And if they were doing that, you know, everybody's got to pay the price for their actions in this world. I'm just sharing my testimony with you right here, right now. I have so many stories of what I've been through, you know. But that happened in King Daughters Hospital. But who sent me there? I know that somebody said that the VA don't want to help the soldiers. That's true. The VA sent me there. And who's in charge of the VA? President of the United States. In charge of anything of government. They're in charge of all that, all those facilities. So it makes you wonder how corrupt our government is and how evil it truly is. But I'm still here. When I go to the VA, it's crazy. I'm gonna tell you. This is what they say. You're still alive. You're still alive. That's what they tell me. You're still alive. And I'm like, well, you trying to kill me again? Like you try to King's daughters? That's what you're saying? I'm still alive? Only God knows how many attempts to try to take me out, and I'm still here because the Heavenly Father protects me. He's the one that keeps me going. Jesus Christ keeps me going. Uh, that's what they tell me at the VA. You're still alive. They knew what was up. They knew what they were trying to do to me. Yeah, I heard y'all. Uh, I'm still here alive amongst the living. Oh yes, brother. I've seen it working through people within the hospitals, doctors, nurses. Uh, they change their ways. There is a lot of unclean spirits in hospitals, so it's possible that something could be roaming around, jumping into people, and they go out of character because they get they get bonded or possessed and used in a negative way, and they don't know it, or they're knowing what they're doing. One of the two. Uh, yeah, so I'll tell you another story. So we're talking. I've been trying to get PTSD help. They wouldn't help me. So they said, okay, we're going to send you to a class. for mental something, some class where you go there as a group. So there's a lady that she's like, breathe in, breathe out, relax, meditate, blah blah blah, you know. And I went there for about a month in this class. On the last day, it's like she says, "What do you learn from this?" I said, "Yeah, I learned a little bit what you're trying to say, but the spiritual side of me wants to give you a message." And so, what is that message? And I told her, "This is what I see. I see something bad happening very soon, and what's to happen? It's going to be a lot of chaos and havoc, and things are going to change here in our country because of this darkness that's coming." She's like trying to tell me that it's all just me and it's probably the medications. It's kind of like the following day, what happened was the coronavirus, in which everything started shutting down, the VA started shutting down. So I run into this lady, like, man, like months later at the VA, and she looks at me and just turns around and looks at me real ugly and walks away from me. Because all the education for college that she went to college for couldn't predict the things that were going to come like I did, because I put my faith and believe in Jesus Christ. She didn't believe in Jesus Christ. She didn't want us to pray or say any kind of prayers. She was more like dealing with the chakras and this kind of stuff, but she didn't want us to talk about what we went through. She didn't want us to do anything like that or bring Jesus Christ in the picture. But I've never seen her again. I think she quit or she left the job. I never seen her again. But I've run into a lot of people where it's kind of like this. If I can't be who I am, right? If I can't say to y'all, if you feel a certain way you're going through something, call upon Jesus Christ, then I'm not doing a spiritual job, because He's been there for me. He's blessed me to come back to my body for what happened to me in King Daughters. He's blessed me numerous times, even in combat, you know. But I'm just doing my spiritual heavenly duties of trying to awaken my brothers and sisters spiritually. We all have the opportunity to make it into the kingdom of heaven, because we are all children of God. Uh, we're born children of God, and just sometimes in life, negative seeds are planted in our path to misdirect us. But sooner or later, we're going to find our way back in our path of where we're supposed to be. And I'm just here as you could say, like a messenger to try to help out my brothers and sisters who view these videos to awaken, because there's a spiritual war in front of us. In order for us to fight the spiritual war, it's through a love foundation. That's the key. And the wisdom and knowledge I'm sharing to y'all is also to prepare your next of kin, because if something happens to us or it's our time to cross over, our next of kin have to be ready also. But whoever's here, I see six people here. I see Brother Stephen, Brother Chris Anderson. How you doing, brother? Who? Juno Hernando Hernandez. I see 6 people here. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if I've come up against anybody, because people freak out sometimes, when Sergeant CS comes out, you know, I know he came out like 2 days ago because he was feeling what he's been through, right? And because it's kind of like it might have happened 32 years ago, but you know when there's something around you and you're trying to figure out, man, what's happening around me. I feel like I'm going to go through something. When I looked at the calendar today, it's like, oh man, no wonder I'm feeling this way. Tomorrow, which is today, is the 32-year anniversary of when I went to Operation Desert Storm and fought the battle on Medina Ridge. That's why I've been feeling a certain way. But in that sense of a way, we have to pray like I prayed, because things did happen in combat. People lost lives, so I have to pray for everybody, and I did that earlier for whoever was here. Uh, yeah, there's so many ways, brothers and sisters, that we can get targeted. It's just when you've been through it, you overcome it, you adapt to overcome the situation. You remember what you went through, you gather your wisdom and knowledge, and you continue to move on forward. One of the things that I do is not let negativity affect my daily routine, my daily life. I've seen where there's good people that these unseen forces might say something through them, but I know they're good, but because maybe somewhere along some they were getting their arguments with people or something, that it used them to say something to me. So I don't see those people as my enemies. I just see them that they were being used at that moment because I had a spiritual opening. I used to go through that all the time when I was at work. I went to work one day early in the morning, and the guy in charge is yelling at me. I'm prime military. So why is this guy yelling at me? I just barely. He's just yelling at me, and I could see the unclean spirit moving in his face. And I looked at him and I said, "God bless you, man." And the unclean spirit, boom, it took off. I said, "God bless you." And the unclean spirit took off out of his body, and then he's like, "Thank you." So the unclean spirit that was giving me a hard time left the person he was bonding, and I was just like, I got rid of it, because I through the spiritual gifts of discernment, I'm able to see these things. Just like I can see that when I was in combat, I seen a lot of things like I talked to y'all about. This the spiritual gift discernment is when you truly believe in Jesus Christ, and you have forgiven, you're forgiven. He blesses you with His gifts, and it's awesome gifts because you just grow spiritually. He's our teacher. He teaches us exactly what to do. Sometimes I know ahead of time what's to come. But in life, everybody makes the decision. Everybody chooses their path. Just because I talk to y'all, all the things that I've said is true stories. But I don't want people to think that I'm better than them, because I'm not. I'm equal to them because we're all children of God. It's just I'm here to awaken those that are being spiritually bonded. That's what I'm here for. To awaken my brother and sister that are spiritually being bonded. For example, people that might be on drugs, people that might have a drinking problem, people that might have generational curses because of witchcraft and necromancy, because of something that somebody practiced before them, or something that somebody might be practicing right now. I'm here to awaken for those that need my help, my brothers and sisters, because we all have an opportunity to make it into the kingdom of heaven. Don't let these unseen forces deceive you from the real true power that you already have through Jesus Christ. There's been a lot of people that have been deceived, because what we're blessed with is a lot greater than anything that has fallen from the heavens to earth. I'm talking about the 1/3. We have the opportunity to make it into the kingdom of heaven. They don't. But anyways, I hope y'all like this video. I've been talking for a while. Tomorrow, if I do make a video, I'm gonna see if some of my brother in arms want to take a shot through if I do make a video, but I don't know if that's good or not. I'm just happy that there's some of us that were out there in combat when they're still alive. So I don't know if I'm going to do that. I'm just happy to serve my government when I served, just like everybody has served in different time eras, right? But thank y'all for tuning in, and I hope y'all enjoyed this talk. You know, to me, I have a good memory, and as so long I have a good memory and talk to y'all, I'm gonna make these videos. If my health ever deteriorates, that I'm not able to speak this way or share stories with y'all, then I will have to make a decision, right? Whether I'm going to be doing this or not. But for right now, as I speak in truth to you as my brothers and sisters, I'm going to continue to do these videos. And if y'all going through anything, brothers and sisters, sharing is caring. Let me know. I'm here for y'all. For anybody that wants to be my friend or needs spiritual help, I'm here for y'all. You're not alone. And if you ever think you're alone because the forces that are around is sticking in your head that you're alone, you're never alone. Call upon Jesus Christ. Tell him, please help me. I was in a situation where when I had come out of the King Daughters Hospital, I was walking. I was walking I was walking, but I was dragging my leg. They didn't give me no cane or nothing. I was trying to rebuild my leg, so my leg was very weak. I remember I was walking, but by then the day that I was walking, my leg was a little bit stronger because I had I rebuilt it myself, not through the VA, through myself by putting carrying my son on my shoulders and carrying extra weight on me to make it stronger. Even though it was weak. I remember one day I was walking by myself early in the morning. In this picture that I'm speaking of, it's the cover for the rise of the DDN, disembodied demonic Nephilim. As I'm walking, I feel heaviness on my shoulders, on my head, a lot of pressure. And I get dropped to one knee, on my left knee. I land on my left knee, and my head is being pressed on my chest, and I start going down, and I'm feeling a lot of weight on me. As I'm feeling this weight on me, I said, God help me. And I start saying the Our Father. When I said that, whatever was all this weight that was on me lifted up upon me because Jesus Christ came to my assistance. I got up and I was feeling dizzy. I was feeling weak. I don't know what had happened, but I managed to walk back to my house. I stumbled to my house. I cut through some yards at the mobile home place to make it to my house. When I got home, I was so weak that I just laid on bed and I was out. I was out all day. So when I wake up, the walk was like around 7, 8 in the morning. I woke up like around 5:30. I was out all day. I look at my phone. I guess my phone because I had my phone on my left hand. So when I was being pressed down, my phone snapped a picture. That picture is right there on as the cover of. You look it up. It's the rise of the DDN, disembodied demonic Nephilim. That's a picture that I captured. That right there, brothers and sisters, are those demons, those unclean spirits, those disembodied spirits, the disembodied demonic Nephilim, or people call the jinn. That's how they appear. They're right there. Uh, Witness it for yourself. If check it out. I got it as a cover on my new group. That's the cover I used. There were a lot of them, man. If you look at the picture, there's a lot of them that were coming after me. I got ambushed. The ones that took a picture off in the front, those were the ones standing in front of me. I got attacked from the top, and from my back area. So they were all around me. If I had a four-way camera, I'm more sure I would have caught how many tried to, I would say, take me out, because that's what they were trying to do. But you see, this what they're trying to do is take me out. But what they didn't understand, that I was already blessed to come back to the Heavenly Father. So they cannot take take away a blessing from the Heavenly Father. So it didn't matter how many came at me. I was blessed to be here because the Heavenly Father blessed me. And that's what they were pissed off about, because they couldn't get what they want. Because they received a doctor that took his life wherever they come from. you know? Uh, but they were pissed off because I just didn't come back to my injured body. I came back as a blessing, as a walking blessing, as a walking miracle. Because I've got blessed by the Heavenly Father, which makes me very strong spiritually. And I'm just glad that I'm able to share the stories here with y'all, brothers and sisters. For whoever's viewing here in Spiritual Encrypted Encounters on YouTube, thank you for listening to me, to what I have to say. You know, I've opening up my heart to y'all. Uh, there's so many stories that I have, that. But for today, this is what's about my brothers and sisters in arms. Around this time, back then, we was training. We was on the move overnight. It was We went on a 2-day road trip across the desert to get to that Alpha Alpha. When we got to the Alpha Alpha, like around 6 in the morning, 7, there was an obstacle of a mine obstacles with concertina wire, a big mine obstacle that the engineers had to clear out and make a path so we would be able to cross to be able to go to our destination of where the battle was going to be. Uh, but thank you. I mean, who's here with me? I see Brother Stephen. I see 6 viewers here. Uh, I see 5 likes on this video. But yes, I remember everything like if it was yesterday, man. I have a good memory. I remember things just like that's good when you can remember things that you could talk about so other people can listen and understand you of who you are. Uh, but yes, thank you all for tuning in. I know it's getting a little bit late. I'm used to staying up at nighttime because all the times, most of the majority of the time I was in the military, I had night shift all the time. Even when I got off the tanks for a little bit after the war, I worked for S3, which was Center of Operations, in which we had the talks where we were set up and we knew where all the tanks were. I did that for about a year. Another, I want to send a shout out to Sergeant First Class Bowser, because it wasn't for him, I probably would have never gone back on the line unit. There was a lot of people targeting people with the first armor patch because they knew we were in combat. We knew we were in the front lines, so we were targeted, and they were kicking a lot of people out. But Sergeant First Class Bowser, I got to work with him. A lot of staff duties with him. I worked the night shift with him in S3. If it wasn't for him, they probably would try to get rid of me too. But he gave them the thumbs up, the approval that I was a good soldier, that I need to go back to the line unit. And I want to send a shout out to him. He was an ex-drill sergeant. He was in one of the companies. I was in Delta Company 135 Armor, and he was in Charlie 135 Armor. We pulled a lot of staff duties. It was like 40, 50 people. And there was a, who do you want to do staff duty with you? He would say my name every single time. I didn't care, you know. And we kept each other company. We joke around, you know, and he was a mentor because he'd give me some advice and stuff like that. Uh, but I just want to send a shout out for him. He was there for me when I was going through a lot, in the military. But because of his approval, I was sent back to a line unit, And of course, I've been through a lot of things, but he was a good guy. Shout out to my crew, uh, to my crew of Delta 31. The Angel. We had a name for our tank. Our tank was called uh, because it's called Death Angel. Uh, my gunner was from the Virgin Islands. He wanted to name it Demigod. I said, no, we're not going to name it no Demigod. And they were naming them by the letters. So I just, how about Death Angel? Death Angel. I think there's an angel of death that's written in the Bible. I mean, just give it Death Angel. Uh, so there was names on the gun tubes of our tanks. But I want to send a shout out to Dana Boucher, which was my loader at the time, to my gunner Joseph Pont from the Philippines, and to brother the lieutenant LT, also the lieutenant's tank. His name Teddy Shelton III, Theodore Shelton III. I want to send a shout out to him. I know I was a driver, but LT, I protected y'all, man. I know I found you. I contacted you. I protected y'all because if I would have used that 9mm bullet, that guy with the AK-47 would have shot y'all. I protected y'all while I was out there when I used that one bullet. I love y'all for being my brother in arms out there, and you all having my back as I had y'all's, or whatever. We were there as brothers, as a family. 4-man crew, and to all of my other brothers that served with me within the platoons. I've never forgotten y'all. I know what we had to do. We had to live with it for the rest of our lives, but we're still here. And for those that are not here, I know you're listening in spirit. I love y'all too. Uh, I lost a brother last year. Was brother? Oh man, I can't remember his name right now. He lived in Dallas. I have him in my thoughts also all the time. Uh, just I can't think right now. Also, as you get older, you forget the names of the people that serve with you. He's still in my friends list though. But I might do a shout out later on today to all the people that serve with me. That's what I like to do. I like to place there's a lot of my brother in the army that serve with me in Operations Storm that are my friends. So I always send something to them to let them know that I'm thinking of them, that they're not alone. But thank y'all for tuning in. God bless you. Get some rest for those that want rest. Like I said before, if anything, if anybody's going through anything that they don't understand spiritually, hit me up on Messenger. Abe CS if you're on Facebook. Hit me up under Abe CS. If you're not on Facebook and you're here, send me a message through this video, and I'll contact y'all, and we can discuss what you're going through, how I can help you go through what you're going through. But thank y'all for tonight, Brother Stephen, uh, Brother Chris Anderson, Brother Stephen Skiba, let's see, Brother Juno, Brother Hernando, and to whoever else is here. Thank you for listening to this old combat veteran, for giving me the time to respectfully listen to what I say. Thank you. That means a lot to me. That y'all took time out of your lives to listen to this live feed. I really appreciate y'all, man. God bless you. You'll have a beautiful, blessed evening. Peace. Before I go, it's like I'm new to this. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna exit this because I'm new to all this here on Facebook. I mean on YouTube. I'm trying to figure out how am I gonna leave this. It says start a poll, share to your groups. Okay, I shared. Let me see how to get out of here now. Everybody have a beautiful, blessed evening. Love y'all.